Good morning, good morning, good morning. I hope everybody is doing well today. This is another week of got a lot about really to center on parent power. We want to talk about the mayor's office and their agenda. We want to talk about some of our parents who have spoke out about, the access to reward schools, but also the non-access to priority schools. And then we want to really hear from you guys. And so thank you guys for joining in. Please start to share this out and let everybody know we're on. I got my trusted sidekick back, Miss Sonya Thomas, who is joining in now. But yeah, we got a lot to talk. Like I said, as you hear the headlines, there's been so much in public education this week. Last week, the mayor they're really around education. They talk putting, right now it's 39%, but it really needs to be closer to 50%. You'll hear a couple of interviews from some of our most powerful parents who have not only been knocking on doors and talking to parents, but also speaking to media to get the message out. And we also have the opportunity just to hear from many of you guys. We had a really good discussion with our juries this past Monday with Ms. Laker Newman at Purpose Prep. And I'm hearing my internet is spotty. I just told you guys that the internet is undefeated, but you a couple of things and just say hello,
Yeah.
close some of these windows and see if that helps my spotty internet.
Yeah, John, get yourself together over there. You sound like a RoboCop. It's okay. The internet is totally undefeated. We can't stand you, internet. We can't stand you. Oh.
I finally got my sound. Okay.
Man, my cell phone be acting up like that, man. It be giving me some trouble, some real trouble. But hey, y'all, I hope that your week is going great. And as you can hear, my grandpa in the background is whining, and he will probably whine this whole hour. So please excuse him, but I'm not moved by his tears at all. But yeah, we had a wonderful week organizing and taking action, and that's what we do. And of course, John, like highlighting the work of our parents is important. They are strong, they are determined, and they are relentless. And I just want to just really talk about our past week of having a press conference, moving from a press conference to interviews from our parents, such as Kimberly Moore, interviews in the press conference we had Miss Kendall Maupin, and we had Crystal Evans speaking out. We had other parents standing with them and beside them, supporting them. We had Kimberly, who also did an interview with Fox 17 talking about priority schools, our awareness campaign for this city's most marginalized children. We have 19 priority schools, and we talked about that, and we wanted to build broad-based awareness in this city. And then we moved to having an interview on Open Line, News Channel 5, Open Line, News Channel 5's morning show with none other but Nick Barris to talk about priority schools. And he didn't know, like he had no clue what we were looking at. And so he is very proud of the movement that we are building. He knows that it is much needed. And so shout out to the parents that called in, Cree, and who else called in? Kimberly called in, and then other people from the public called in. And so shout out to our parents to first of all, formally announcing yourself as powerful parent leaders. I think I was the most proudest thing in that darn studio. And that was the most proudest moment for me, is to have our parents to speak up and to take a stand and say that tell their stories, and to talk about how this movement is impacting them and changing their mindset and helping them to demand better for their children. So, John, I think I recap. Oh, and then look, then another Fox 17 interview yesterday with my girl Kenya. I'm gonna shout you out, Kenya.
Come on now.
Kenya, she said, Miss Sonia, I was so nervous. And I said, but you were relentless. She had her son in the car with her as she did that interview. And he was so proud of her. He watched his mama stand up for him and other children. And it made him so proud. He said, Mama, I was so proud of you. He said, you was nervous. I ain't never seen you nervous like that. He said, but Mama, I was so proud of you. He said, I want to talk on TV, Miss Sonia. I was talking to him on iPhone. And I said, baby, if you want to talk on TV and tell your story, because he's struggling. He has gone from low performing elementary, middle to high school. And he's brilliant. But he has not been equipped with what he needs. He wants to talk about that. And I'm proud of him for wanting to stand up for himself. And I told him, he asked me would I come to his meeting with the school, because he said, Miss Sonia, they picking on me. He said, they stereotyping me. They talking bad to me. And I said, you let me know the day and the time, and I'll helicopter on top of that damn school, and I'll be right there. And that's
Come on now.
So John get his internet together. Hey, parents. Hey, Shamika. Hey, Miss Moore. Hey, Jordan. Y'all come on in here. Like and share. Like and share.
Is this still audio? I
It's
still
good.
sound like a robot.
No, you don't sound like RoboCop. You good.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
You're under arrest.
but let me second everything Sonia said. I think, hearing those parents, this is how you start the morning off at 8 a.m. in the morning, rushing to physical therapy with the phone on your ear to listen because you ain't in front of a TV. And every call you hear, you just hear the Kendall Moffins, the Shamikas, the Kimberlys, the Crees, the Aisha, and then parents were like stuck on the line and couldn't get in, and just, it's better than a cup of coffee on a Monday morning to hear parents fired up and ready to go to really get the word out about how our kids are doing, and our kids are doing well or not well based on how the schools are doing. And they had something to say.
Yeah. And Nick was like, these parents, they engage.
Come on.
I said, it's not about engagement. These are they babies. These are their children's lives. And they're fighting for their children. It's important that journalists amplify the voices of parents who are unheard, who are not asked, who are not even thought about. And so shout out to News Channel 5 and the Fox 17 for amplifying the voices of parents. Oh, and Channel 4. Let's not forget our friends at Channel 4 for amplifying the voices of parents, of real parents who are living this shit. This is our reality. So we wake up to every day. And so that's why parents were able to call in and speak truth to power and unapologetically and relentlessly tell their story. It's a name in the single story. Oh, we've got 48 reward schools. There ain't no period there, John. That need to be a one-on sentence. And we got 19 priority schools. And this is what we're going to do. But they don't want to talk about that, John.
Man, Sonia, you done started on. This has been a weekend. We ain't even talked about Miss Lagra Newman at Purpose Prep, who was one of the reward schools, who just came on and not only highlighted their school, but talked about how do we highlight more schools? How do we get more kids caught up? We're going to talk about that. We got a clip. But just want to shout out the parents who are jumping on. Tammy says, good morning, guys. I'm on vacation and still joining in. Thank you for that. Miss Moffin says, good morning. Shamika says, good morning. Y'all have a great day. Miss Kimberly Moore is on here. Jordan is on here. Tammy, we got Facebook user who I will put money is real.
Hey, my good people. Hey, Miss Moppy. Miss Moppy give me what call Miss Moppy. Miss Moppy give me that energy. Come on, man.
But I'm gonna tell you what it feels like to be at the table. I think the reason we are excited because we know what's going on in our communities and we know what's not going on, and we don't really have a voice. Like, we talk amongst ourselves, amongst our family, But the chance, to talk to News Channel 4, Channel 5, Fox 17, it's able to broadcast a message where people say, oh, I thought it was just me, because they're looking at Kimberly or they're looking at Kendall or Miss Rollins and saying, damn, like, I'm going through the same thing. And our phones have been ringing off the hook because that's just what people are saying. Like, man, I thought it was just me. And it's like, the famous quote before the rocket ship lifted off, I forgot, I think it was Apollo 13. It said, Houston, we have a problem. In Nashville, we have a serious problem with educating Black and brown kids and poor kids. And some stuff need to blow up, so we can really make way to really educate our kids.
Yeah, man. Speaking of blow up, what I think what you mean is it just needs a full overhaul.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been saying that since like 2019, right? As we were organizing our small group of parents, and we
Mm-hmm.
often talked about. I remember, John, remember when we were whiteboarding and trying to figure out our mission and all that stuff, and some of the words that we used were like overhaul. Like, this stuff needs to
Mm-hmm.
be overhauled. It doesn't work. It is not working. And like I told Nick the other day, some of these kids at the growth rate that they're going, they'd be 80 years old before they learn how to read. 80 years old at this growth rate. That's unacceptable. It's
We ain't got
unacceptable.
time.
You got time.
So, and it looks like my internet spotty again. I don't know what's going on, but can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. Uh-huh.
Okay, probably not. So one of the things I wanna highlight is it's a lot of people meeting right now about public education, and the Kendall Moffins and other parents who are on here, like Shamika, are not in these rooms. And I wanna make sure that we're aware of the agenda, and that's what they're calling it, an agenda that they're putting together. And we just want to get people's perspective on it. Like, this is an agenda that the mayor's office is putting together, but we need to make sure like his agenda includes your agenda for your kids. And we're in some schools, and so I'm gonna come
You breaking up.
and just read an excerpt and then just
You're
okay.
breaking up, John.
And then okay. Yeah, I'm gonna come on from my phone, Sonya. So I'll be right back.
Okay. But yeah, it's I'll just continue that conversation about agendas. You gotta be careful of folk agenda. You got to know their agenda, and you have to challenge them on their agenda, and you got to be unafraid to do so, because folk could do stuff as this city has always done without us. They'll do things to us instead of with us, and that I don't think has changed. Anytime the mayor's office come up with some type of agenda or some type of cabinet, it usually does not include parents from our community, and really is, and to be honest with you, it's really a bunch of bullshit. I'm just gonna call that on out. Y'all can call them and tell them what I said. But that's really what it is. It's usually a bunch of bull, and it's a shame of what happens during an election season. Yeah, I'm calling you out, calling you out, Michael, and anybody else that's running. They'll say they're going to do something and never do it, or never even have an intentions to do it. So as we organize parents, we want to make sure that you understand like the role of people, their agendas, and then being able to ask the right questions to make sure that you understand whether or not that agenda includes you. Who does it include is the question. Who we talking about? And so that's very important. And I'm not drinking no mixed drink. I'm drinking body armor.
I think with the week you had, Sonya, it wouldn't be far-fetched. I mean, from Monday to open line to yesterday of working with families, communications training, like this is the work. And it's still a lot going on. I went to a breakfast yesterday morning, um, and one of the stories that really stood out, it was a kid who I think lived in Casey or around the area, and they were put out, and they had to go live in a hotel room with his mom, dad, and three siblings, and just hearing that story. But he still made it, but he only made it because there was intervention. There were people who knew him by first name and last name and knew his story and wanted to help. And today he's giving back. He's giving back by teaching. He's a ninth grade English teacher. But it goes to show you, like, if you give a kid support, if you give them love and care and direction, and make sure education is still a priority, like, they're gonna make it. If you put them in the gutter or just say, life is too hard, like, don't even try today, like, they're not gonna make it. And for too long, we've been doing one or the other or both.
Yeah. I mean, just even talking to Kenya and her son yesterday, it really broke my heart because if you listen to this kid, like, he's a kid, John. Like, he's in the ninth grade, and yes, he's developing into a young man, but I could just hear the kid in his voice and in his thoughts. And just to think that a child goes to school, he goes to Pearl Cone, and to think, he feels stereotyped and not valued. He plays football, and he's like, Miss Sonya, I'm doing the best I can. It's just he's got all these barriers, and grown folks.
Yeah.
Maybe he did something silly, which doesn't even matter, and maybe that person at the school doesn't like him now, and kids know that, and they feel that. And just meeting him that one time, I just fell in love with his personality, and I could see the love from his mom that she get in their relationship. Like, he ride in the front seat beside his mama, celebrating his mama, and I'm like, that pisses me off because he can't read, and all y'all want to do is pick with him. But you know what? Pearl Cone will be celebrating the football games.
I know. I had a friend who, he ended up sending his kid to John Paul too, and he was like, my son really wanted to go to Pearl. He would have been an all-star at Pearl, but he said the only reason I didn't send him there, even though he went there as a father, so he knew, he was like, because he can't go anywhere after that. Like, his playing days would be over, because it's just, he knows his son is likely he won't be able to get the education he'll need. He'll shine on the field, but he wouldn't shine in the classroom because he just needed a little bit more structure.
I talked to one of my good friends that I went to high school with, and he has a son that is in the NFL right now. Just got drafted.
Yep.
And he called me after the News Channel 5 open line. Well, he said something to me on Facebook, and I called him, and we were talking, picking on me or whatever. And we talked about that journey. We talked about when he was at Stratford, when he was in middle school. He went to school with my daughter Sarah too, and we talked about how he had all these challenges and obstacles. And he's like, Sonya, I'm so glad I took him out of the traditional setting. He wouldn't be, not be in the NFL right now.
Wow.
I wish more parents would get that. Know when to run, know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, know when to, because their life and their future really, really depend on the school that they're in. Literacy is a school choice issue. It is the number one school choice issue. The number two school choice issue is parent partnership. What does that look like? What does partnership look like with that parent? The number three issue is the school's culture. How are they welcome? How are they treated? How do we treat each other in love? How do we lead? Do we lead with love and empathy? Do we lead with respect? Do we lead with recovery, restoring? Those things matter. And if you have a child who is in a low performance school, get them out by any means necessary, and get them out now. You're not going to leave your child in no burning house. Get them out of them buildings. And I said it, and I said it unapologetically.
And let me tell you why. I knew, and I'm calling names, Principal Mike Steele at Stratford, who lived in Brentwood, you know, traveling to school. What I can respect about him is that he brought his kids to Stratford to be in there. That said a lot. But one thing I do know, anybody involved on the school board, all the way up to, you know, regional superintendents, after elementary, nobody has their kids in the zone school. Nobody.
John, wait a minute. Freedom Friday, February 2020. Remember, showed up at a local high school. I'm telling it. I'm saying the school. I say the principal name. Don't care. Ran up in there. Remember, John, we got up early.
I remember. We were there before 7 because we know school started at 7:05.
Yeah, we was there about 6:38, John. Because we had kids in school too. So we had to get there, take care of business, get back home, get our kids to school. We done ran up in there, y'all. When we first got in there, we went to the desk. The kids standing around the desk. John laughing. You know it's true. And they had this black man at the thing. And the kids was right there, and they was like, them kids would act like they wasn't going to class. They was talking funky to him. We asked for the principal. You know what he said? He said, "Oh, she ain't here. She probably ain't gonna get here after 7." Remember that? Hey,
he just tell it like it is.
And he didn't know who we was. So he actually laughed. And so remember my girl, her name started with a C, Casey. Y'all, this is 2022, and I remember that baby name. Casey. Remember Casey?
I do.
Casey wasn't going.
At all.
She went, they telling the teachers, the substitutes walking in late, the teachers we done went to their little cafe in Maplewood. We done drank people's coffee. Still waiting on the principal to get there. We drinking coffee with creamer and sugar. Casey hanging out in the hallway. She said, "I ain't finna go to class." She telling the teachers that. I'm looking because I don't like disrespect, and I grew up where Miss Jones and the Campbells were with my tail. If I ain't do what I was supposed to do up here, so I said to the young lady, I said, "Young lady," I said, "How you doing today?" First of all. And she began to talk to me, so respectful. And I said, "I see that the adults asked you to go to class, and you have yet to." And the bell had already rung. Y'all listening? And I said, "And I see that you have not gone to class." She said, "Yeah." She said, "Why am I gonna be on time when the teachers don't even go in there on time?" And I said, "You know what? Most adults would probably look at you and tell you a lie, but I'm gonna look at you and tell you the truth. You're correct." I said, "So what I hear you saying is, why should you do the right thing when the people around you ain't modeling the right thing?" I said, "I'm gonna answer that for you, because when you leave here, they still gonna be here, and you still have to develop as a person who knows to work on time, who has to be accountable for yourself. And so let me tell you, young lady, always try to do the right thing, because that stuff pays, but it ain't gonna pay off for them." She said, "Yes, ma'am, I'm gonna go to class," and went to class. She sashayed with her beautiful self on the class. But after that, we met with the principal, who told us her kid, who was in high school, did not go to that school. and didn't live far from that school. She said, I take mine to good pasture. I'm not breaking my kids.
Mm-hmm.
Am I lying, John?
That's a burning building. That's a burning building. And it,
So
and it
I
ain't
almost did mine in there.
and it ain't personal, but we know what a leader does. A leader leads by example. And if it's gotten to the point where you work at the school, but you don't want to put your kid in the school, Nashville, we have a problem.
Dude, I worked in nursing for 24 years. And let me
Mm-hmm.
tell you something. I wouldn't dare work in no hospital where I can't send my family member.
Right.
Damn lie. I ain't gonna if we ain't taking care of people in here, you think I'm gonna bring my family member in here? I don't even want to work here.
Mm-hmm.
That's my name. That's my legacy. I got to deal with God on that. I ain't doing just anything for I ain't gonna be pimped for no paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't no way.
So the agenda, and my internet is spiked, so I can't pull it up. But Mayor Cooper on September 22nd, which was last week, had a press conference, and he laid out his agenda for education, and one of it was, a vision of high performance and wraparound support for youth across local public schools. Held by him and Superintendent Adrian Battle, is only doable with investment. But he talked about, pay increases recently, district support staff, um, and it kind of just, for me to say, okay, we need wraparound services for the youth. Like, what is it? What does it really mean? Like, what? That's an agenda, right? But what is the plan? And I think for far too long, I don't think they got a plan. I don't think they want to get our schools right, and because of that, you just can't wait. Like, when I don't see people who work at the school waiting to get the school right, I know I'll be waiting too long trying to get it right. And we got to fix it.
Is this a choice? Is there a choice, or is there some form of monopoly here?
Right.
Is the question. Is there some form of a monopoly when, a parent may not be able to even think they have a choice, or maybe they don't have a form of transportation and access
Mm-hmm.
to something better? Because I don't mean no harm. If the CEO of HCA won't take they family members to continue, I ain't taking my family to continue either. And they go
Mm-hmm.
the same thing for schools.
You,
Sad.
you know, and this is not being pretentious or like thinking of us, but the reason I know the press conference is BS because he's not highlighting real parent voices who are doing the work in the community. And so some people sat in the room and said, what's a good press release that we can do to like show that we're trying to do something? And that's what they did. But the mere fact, like, I didn't even know about it. You didn't know about it. I don't think none of our families knew about it.
And
And
when
so
was
it was September 22nd.
damn, that was a week ago.
Yeah. 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 Last Thursday.
We ain't know nothing. Ain't nobody told us nothing.
Mm-hmm. You know what I did hear though from Fox 17? They
Huh.
talked about the crisis in the classroom, and I'm so glad. I even heard it on 92Q this morning. Top 5 things. It said, it talked about the number of priority schools, but it talked about, the Fox 17 article said it's important to note that the numbers have dropped from 24 to 19. Let me tell you where those 5 went. They were closed down. Glenn out east, Glenn Enhanced Option out east. Robert E. Lillard on Kings Lane. Home on Charlotte. Buena Vista on out right across from Cheatham, and it's one more that I can't think. But when they say that the number of schools have decreased, like, is that really true?
No, not
So I think that's important to note that it hasn't. It's only been because we shuttered the schools. And Ms. Moore says partnership is missing. Like, when people get in a room and they think they're the smartest, but they don't have it, they don't understand the community that they're trying to serve, it's always going to be travesty. It's like if I coach volleyball and trying to come coach football, like, I can tell you how to bump it up. I can't tell you how to run a fade route. Like, and so, like, when you look at that room, maybe there were people in there who were, deep in the community. But again, I ain't seen nothing on Facebook. I hate that's the news source, but when I just see it from the Tennessean, it just says the room was too small.
They said the room is too small.
No, I think the room, the picture they had showed a group of people on there, but it's still too small if you're not seeing things like Scoop Nashville. When something pop up and it's breaking news, shoot, it's gonna come across my news feed. So I know I don't even look at Scoop. I just delete because they tear down Black people, but people be sharing it because it's being circulated out. I ain't seen nothing about the news.
Because it really, like, it goes. I'm sorry. I just got this picture of in my head or something I saw Scoop and it tickled me.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show, like, they ain't talking about nothing.
Yeah.
They're not talking about anything. They're not talking about anything.
Yeah. And Visha said, as Sonya talked about on the morning line interview, some of the reward schools are not rewards for most of the students in some of the schools. And kind of break that down. I think you and Lagra were talking about it on the speaker series, but I remember one school that got off the priority list that actually did worse. I think it was either Inglewood or Rosebank, and it was dumbfounding to say, the school has been recognized as a priority school, and they did this big presentation to get excited about why they were not on the list anymore. And I was excited, and I remember somebody sent me a message and said, "But here are the scores," and the scores were worse. And I was like, "We can't be celebrating this stuff."
Yeah.
Like, what are we celebrating?
Yeah, and it's fascinating because, first of all, I think the realization of the fact that a school can come off of the priority status, which is really like tied to money.
Mm-hmm.
Be real, and not really tied to outcomes. A school can rank in the bottom 5% and grow, 6 to 10 points, maybe be 11% or 13% of the students are reading on grade level, or they had an increase in the college graduation. When you refer to high school, it's really scary that the schools can come off of those lists, and it's kind of a form of betrayal. When I think about it, that it's great that these schools are growing, but at the rate of growth, like I said, some of these children be 80 years old before they know how to read.
Yeah.
Or ready for college. They be sitting up in the college classroom at 80 years old. Talking about now I'm ready. And it's really sad that parents are having like wool like placed over our eyes. Even when talking to Nick Barris, right? Explaining to him what a reward school is. It's a school that has grown, or they have achieved a level of academic achievement. And I had to inform him that list may have an MLK on it. It may have a Hume Fall, but it also may have a Rose Bank on there that has a 30% literacy rate.
Yeah.
So he was like, "What?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah." Like, so if you're not hearing the word academic achievement and all you hearing is growth, then that should be a red flag.
Yep. Okay, let me ask more questions.
Tom's move. Our next Tom's move is the red flag movement. It's red flag. Like, it's a red flag. Like, yeah. And Laker, she laid it out. Like she gave parents the ultimate truth.
Yeah.
On Monday night, she said that our goal was academic achievement. Growth. There can't be a period at growth. There has to be a comma. There has to be a compound sentence. That needs to be a run-on sentence. We are growing, but we got a lot of work to do. We have not grown enough to achieve academic achievement in these children, and this is what we're going to do. That is not what we're hearing from the district, and that's because they're playing us out for fools, basically. They think so anyway.
Yeah, so the Fox 17, and I'm gonna put the link in the comments. Like, you guys should check it out. But Sonya talked about, we want a commitment from them, a commitment to us that you would get at least 50% of the students in your elementary school reading on grade level by the school year. And the district's response was, I want everybody to know and be clear that the district will work every day to support them, help them to improve their student outcomes, and to celebrate when they come out of priority status, Dr. Battle said.
Y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that?
Let me be clear, because that's what they said. I want everybody to know and to be clear that the district will work every day to support them and to make sure when they come off the priority status, we're highlighting it and we're celebrating it. We want to help them improve. No commitment. We want to help them.
No commitment. So literally we're asking people to do something they're incapable or they don't want to do. That's what that says. That's like, John,
they said, let me be clear.
Can I bring it home to my people? Can I meet my people where they are? Like a dude cheating on me, and he said, you know what? I'm gonna try to stop. I'm gonna try to stop cheating on you. I'm gonna try to stop abusing you. I'm gonna try really hard. We're gonna let everybody know when I try. But I can't commit.
Yep.
To not cheating on you, because I'm just gonna try.
Yeah. Anything can happen.
Yeah. Like if I get in a situation, you know what I'm saying, I can't tell you that I might not.
Right.
You're not following me.
I just want to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm just being real. I'm gonna try real hard. I'm doing my daddy. My daddy, he gone. I love him, but he was something else. He used to tell my mama when he used to do stuff he had no business. I'm doing the best I can, and still go out and do whatever he was doing. Gambling, whatever. Love him. I'm vulnerable. I'm telling the truth. Without ever committing to doing the right thing.
Yeah.
This school district can say it's gonna do something and never have to do it. And never will. Not I, said the cat. Nope. Maybe our plan need to change here a little bit. We got our answer.
Yeah. And out of respect, they put a link in that article so we can go through and see where the board had the discussion. But the funny thing, Simon, if you've been around this work for more than 3 years, you would know the playbook and the continuous cycle And so they posting this, but I done seen this before. It's in the emergency book. Oh, we got an academic emergency. What we gonna do? Okay, here go the plan. Put that in front of them. Get a news reporter.
That'll shut them up.
Yep.
And we ain't never got to do it.
Yep.
We'll try. I try. I wish somebody could create us a meme. I try. They could have kept that comment. They could have kept that response.
It came out the playbook. You ever seen?
But you know what?
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna make sure everybody knows what she's clear about.
Mm-hmm. So we can celebrate too.
That's right.
This has been a week and it's only Wednesday. This has been a week and it's only Wednesday. I tell you, I took a drive down to Memphis. It was a guy by the name of Jeffers Patted Out, and I wish I could play some of his video if my internet was working. But it's an organization that's probably gonna get millions of dollars to do some wraparound service work. It kind of sounds like the playbook that the mayor is using right now. We need wraparound services. He said, what happens when a train leaves Memphis at 12 o'clock going 30 miles an hour, right? And then what happens when the next train, not 12 o'clock, but 3 o'clock leaves Memphis going 30 miles an hour? When will that second train ever catch up to the first train? And he yelled out, never.
Never.
And he said, that's how we're doing with our schools. We are doing we know kids are coming in behind. 2 grades behind on average. And we're doing the same thing that we were doing that got them behind, and we just expect a different result. I'm a man of faith. Like, I'm a pray, but prayer without works is dead. So I can't pray my way out of my son getting to read on grade level if we don't do anything different. And a miracle can happen, right? And so let's believe that, but it's not gonna happen without the work. And that's in the text for me.
She said that she gonna help them.
And Miss Sweat, God bless Miss Sweat. We know Miss Sweat. She working. She taking care of her children and her grandchildren. She said they got to be held accountable for not doing. She done been in the meeting. Miss Sweat is sweet. She the sweetest lady you ever meet. But she know when the wool being pulled over her eyes. She know when the wool being pulled over her eyes. Yep, Jordan, the train can never catch up. Once it's gone, I was speeding. If the state trooper, once I pass him going 90, he ain't gonna catch up. He got to go 120. So he just like, look, I ain't even about to pull out. Like, he going 90, I'm gonna have to go 120. He can't catch up, and that's how it is with our kids.
Hey, can you read that to me one more time?
Which one?
Dr. Batter's statement.
Yep. It says, Fox 17 reached out and they responded with the link, and I put the link there because she highlighted an initiative to increase literacy levels and one-on-one learning. We heard that 2020. But she said, I want everyone to know and to be clear that the district will work every day to support them, help them to improve their student outcomes, and celebrate them when they come out of priority status.
Who's she talking to?
Man, high dosage.
Want everybody to know that we will celebrate them. Who's she talking about?
When they come out of priority status.
We're gonna be gone.
Yep. With our grandkids in the school.
No, My grandkids ain't gonna be in them schools. They ain't gonna have their kids in them schools. No, my grandbaby ain't setting foot in no school like that.
Yeah.
My son, I'm gonna be transparent. I gotta tell y'all this. My son has a head injury, and yesterday he was wanting to listen to the open line interview because he didn't get to see it, and he listened to the part where I was telling my personal story about my son, who we found was reading on a second grade reading level, and Nick was asking me about how I moved my son from that school, how I evacuated my son out of the burning house. And my son started to cry. He's 28. And with his speech being very fragile and not being very normal, he cried and he talked about, Mama, I remember when I was in school and things were not, they weren't pushing me enough. Things were not going very well, and how you tried to work with him and you poured me out. And you did that for my other siblings. He said, Mama, you've always fought for children. He said, you always tried to put us in a situation educationally for that was best for us. Mama, you always fought for us. And I thank you. And he cried, he bawled, and it made me cry. And I said, I was doing it when I didn't even know what to do.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about school choice. All I knew is I didn't want my kids to have reading struggles like I knew I had. And so from day one, I was trying to spend every dollar I had or whatever I had to do to have them to go to the best school. My best friend at the time was a PTA president at Amqui Elementary, who had been on the priority school list for years. And I can remember we always wanted our kids to go to Amqui. That was the best thing that we knew. We would pick our teachers in the summertime. We'd get together, we'd be on the phone. We'd be like, who gonna be second grade teachers? Who gonna be the third grade? We would write a note and we would get up there and try to beat out all the parents to get them in classrooms. Just know this, both of our children left there not reading on grade level. Both of our children were held back. One, her son was held back in 6th grade. Mine was held back in 8th grade. Her son is now in private school. She drives to Brentwood to take her kid to school. So don't tell me raising PTO money, selling them funky ass donuts and candy bars. Use my language. But there's a time to cuss and a time not to. And when you think about the damage that's done to these children, even with good intentions, you can damage and hurt children. And when I think back on hearing the chairwoman talk about raising $50,000 for a PTA to school, I'm like, what you don't know is you talking to somebody whose best friend, who was a PTA president. You talking about somebody who had their child in a school that participated in that stuff. And what you telling me is, if I do that, if we got PTA money, that those kids are gonna know how to read? Bull crap.
Yeah, but add the cherry on top and read to them for 20 minutes a day. That's the silver bullet that we may be missing. Let them tell it.
We live in this stuff.
Right.
You can't hardly tell us nothing. We live this.
And we just hear from so many parents. I think you talked about even hearing from a parent from Wilson County, and it ain't no change. She dealing with the same thing that Black, brown, and poor families dealing with in Nashville. They ain't immune to it.
It's been going on for decades. And if people think that we're going to keep keeping our kids in these situations, there's got to be a sense of urgency. You know what? I have a call to action for our family.
Okay.
I think you will agree to this. I'm going to give just a little bit of benefit of time. If things are not working well for your children by the beginning of December, evacuate them.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care who hear me say this right now. See, this is I'm not going to ask a parent to do something that I wouldn't do. And my son talking to me yesterday reminded me of all the steps I took to make better. And so why wouldn't I tell other parents the truth? You got to get them the hell out of these schools that ain't that. Dr. Battle said she gonna do this. She been helping for 2 years. Sean Joseph was helping. Garcia was helping. Radish was helping. This been going on for decades. Some of y'all came out of them schools. They saying the same thing. Evacuate them out of the burning house. I'm saying I'm pissed off today. I'm sorry.
My 20-year class reunion, it showed the effects of a poor education system for us. I mean, the lack of Black men.
New outfits and poverty.
Yeah, you know, we had a good time. We reminisced, we danced, but it was still shocking to know we came in 9th grade with hundreds, and we left with a few hundred. So all those kids that got left behind, like, what happened? What happened?
Man, look, yesterday I took calls. Miss Moore said something to county too. Miss Moore, I took phone calls from parents and grandparents from other cities, Black parents and grandparents who experienced the same thing. This is a Black people problem. This is the poor people problem. Let's just call it what it is, man. Like we got a Black people problem here. We're attending these low performance schools, hoping and wishing and praying that these people gonna help. She been saying she gonna help.
You know, pull them out and put them in a better environment. Don't keep them in that environment because it's convenient. You might have to be uncomfortable as a parent to make your child comfortable. And I think with that same energy, we got to go hard on the system. Like the money don't stop. They don't get less of a check. The system still gets the whole money, and we don't need to be uncomfortable. And they ain't uncomfortable. Everybody uncomfortable in here. Everybody like sitting on pins and needles, because until we get it right, it don't need to be a one-stop shop on being uncomfortable. Everybody got to be uncomfortable. If I'm getting up, taking my time to drive across town, the system about to be uncomfortable thinking about me driving across town and what I'm about to do and say, because enough is enough.
Them red bottom shoes on them feet, their feet about to be hurting. Because while your children are suffering, they wearing red bottom shoes and wearing Louis Vuitton bags and buying sports cars.
Why Black and brown kids are living in hotel rooms. And it's okay to wear red bottom, but you, as a leader, if I'm eating and my people are not eating, what I look like coming in there with a big ham sandwich?
Man, that's gonna worry me. That's gonna grieve me.
That's gonna get me hurt.
And you know what? I ain't saying stay poor.
Yeah.
I was a teenage mama. I was on welfare, on TennCare. Yeah, all the things. Y'all didn't even know that. Now, I'm on my second home. I have a car. Sometimes an uncomfortable life. But you know what? I complain. I did not want to stay there, but also I needed some certain supports around. I had a good support system that I know a lot of people don't have. And so we got to make sure that these children can support themselves when they don't have nothing else. When they don't have anything, they have to have access and opportunity. Not stay in poverty, in TennCare, in welfare, and that stuff is okay for a time. I had to use it. I had to use it. But that doesn't mean that we have to stay there. So people that come up, I'm not bashing them either. You never should. But what we're saying is give people a fighting chance.
Mm-hmm.
These kids and some of our families haven't had a fighting chance or the opportunity that a lot of people in Nashville with privilege have.
Mm-hmm. And Miss Taylor, she says, this hurts to know I can't turn back the hands of time for my children. My heart aches. All I can do is keep fighting for the future and make sure things change. And that's just it. Like Back to the Future with Michael J. Fox was one of my favorite movies. I watched all three, even though the last one was a little janky. But we can't go back. And so we got to start right here. Like, how do we change the lives of our children right now, but also change the lives of others? And it's going to take uncomfortable work, but it's the work that we've been doing. It's what you guys have accomplished for all the parents on this call is something to be celebrated and to keep you refueled and gassed up to keep going, because it's making a difference. We got to just keep turning up the heat, because now they're getting bold. Now they getting like they puffing their chest out.
Yeah.
And in order for our kids, but all the other kids, we gotta keep fighting. We gotta we gotta have some knockouts. Like, let me say, I don't like to fight. Like, I like to knock out. Like, I like to defeat the problem. And so when you think about leadership, when you think about some of these principles, like, you might have to do a knockout and take them out. Like, take them out, because they just bad for business. They bad for educating our kids. And so we don't have to keep fighting. We just address the problem.
Yeah, and they have to be removed from the school. That's what he means by them out, take them out. They don't need to be here. You know, the help they getting ain't enough.
Yeah.
You know what that tells me? You know that it takes me to a conversation I had with Ashford Hughes last semester at Hume Fall, when he told me that it's not Dr. Battle's fault. What that statement says, it's going, they've got a message that's starting to turn the corner and take the focus off of Dr. Battle and say, hey, we're just here to help the schools at the district level. They're taking the responsibility. So that right there, I don't forget nothing. Said that to me, the librarian at Hume Fall, a teacher from Glencliff, and another lady, I can't remember her name, Maria, I think. He said that to us. This is all Dr. Battle's fault. And I said, it's not about her fault. It's about, as a leader, you take accountability and you take the problem and you find solutions. But you don't just say hands off. Like, no, I'm gonna let them handle it. They can call me. Just let me know how I can support you. Just let me know.
When the Titans game comes, we got 64,000 people in the stadium on Sunday. Every day, Monday through Friday, we got 81,000 kids in our school, hoping they get the chance to live a successful life. When Jeff Fisher was going 8-8, they let him go. It wasn't good enough, even though he made it to the playoffs. And so when you think about what a Titan stadium looks like, think about the district and how many kids we have in the district who depend on being taught the basics. I keep seeing people pop up to say 11-year-old can't read, a 16-year-old can't do multiplication. Like, leadership matters. And you can only pass the buck so many times. Leadership matters.
Man, I'm tired of people being done like this, man.
Yeah. Yeah. The city of Nashville, and we can see it coming, right? So for parents and people who don't think we on the right message, think about the city of Nashville, right? Every time they brought a new plan to increase Nashville status, the NFL draft, the New Year's ball drop, the new apartments here, the high rise here, like we celebrated that because our city was growing. But every time that happened, it displaces families. And so, how long will people go in the city of Nashville before they say "F you"? Like we don't want none of that because when it comes, that means one of us got to go. That's same with our school system. Every time they come with this glossy plan, every time they make an empty promise, like we lose students. We lose students, and
Man, it's
enough is enough.
that, man. People are not going for that no more. I mean, the enrollment has dropped tremendously in the
Mhm.
district.
Mm.
And what people are doing, I think we were talking about this yesterday, John. Like most people they just packing their bags and leaving and forget it.
Yep. Yep. Jordan, connect us with that person. My son's friend can't do things in math that he was doing in the second grade, and they're in the fifth, and we're helping him. And he said he don't ask questions because the teacher don't. We need to talk to him. I mean, that's the movement. Let's organize them and figure out which school, get a meeting with the school, create a real plan, and hold them accountable to implement it. Because we just hear too much. Tammy earlier said that no 11th-year-old can't read. Like, connect us, Tammy. I know you're on vacation. Connect us.
Then we need to talk to who else? Who else are
Yep.
they? Because this is it. Because most parents, I've been in that situation, John, where you just don't know what to do. It's like I was working with Kim this week
Mm-hmm.
with an issue she having in Bellshire.
Mm-hmm.
When I tell you they just she just chasing her ass. She literally like just running around. They just like, call this person. Call them back. Call this person. Then call them back. I mean, that they've been doing that for decades to parents. No,
Mm-hmm.
we didn't have that. They said do that. I mean, just literally. And what's so bad about it is we hear it all day, every day.
Mm-hmm.
So
Remember.
when the parents saying it ain't no lie, we like when y'all call us with this stuff. Notice we be like,
Mm-hmm.
we probably could repeat your next sentence,
Mm-hmm.
but that would be rude. But we could probably like you could talk and we can like say your next sentence because we hear it all day, every day.
It's a playbook. And again, not on the school board after elementary. Nobody sends their kids to the zone school. Go as far as the mayor's office, all the way down. It's hard to find someone that sends their kid to their zone school unless it's Granbury and the rest of the schools at Lockland. But again, Gower, elementary schools. But when you start to get to middle school, people transition to NSA or MEGS or HEAD or seventh grade MLK or Hume Fall.
What if we close those schools?
The only reason they created those schools was to bring back in the white flight.
Did y'all hear that?
The only reason.
White parents during the civil rights when we had to integrate school, they was the original gangsters of school choice.
Yep. They said we out.
And when we started choosing, every time we get hip to something, it's a problem. But they were the original gangsters of school choice.
Yeah. Let me tell you how bad a dude told me. He sat and talked to me for 2 hours about why we need to close down charter schools and magnet schools. I was like, man, that's interesting. Like I never heard a person say magnets and charters. And then, by the end of it, I was like, where does your kid go to school at? This mofo said Hume Falls.
Yeah, it's a black people problem we got here.
He said Hume Falls. He spent 2 hours running a campaign only to say, hey, until we get these zone schools, like my kid gonna be in Hume Falls. I ain't gonna be in the zone school. It ain't good enough for my daughter.
How many coffees did they ask me to meet with him on? And I ain't finna sit down talking no food like that. They
2 hours.
once you told me he said that, ain't no use him meeting with me because he gonna get
2
cursed.
hours.
He gonna get cursed out. I'm not
So,
listening to that foolishness. The
they
man,
wasn't.
remember with the vouchers, the mayor's office reached out. His PR person was the PR person for President Biden. He reached out to me, wanted me to come talk about vouchers. I said, shit, we want $30,000 vouchers. $7,000 little penny any vouchers. We need a $30,000 voucher. They ain't want to talk to me no more. That's what I
take off speed dial.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They ain't gonna call me no more. I'm so polite.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, how you doing? No, see, just check this out. We want 30,000 vouchers, like what you and Governor Lee got, like that your children gonna get a great education and they'll be able to enter into the top colleges and universities and become architects and engineers and shit. That's what we want. Don't give us off the table. Miss us with that. You don't want to talk to me no more.
Yeah.
Message
so ever again. And we want to thank you guys for joining us. It's been a long weekend. It's just Wednesday. It's been a lot of good action. So, we're excited, but we realize like we got to keep the pressure up. For the person who told me I'm gaining weight, just know I'm eating to live and not living to eat. Got my. They said it in love. They said it's so lovely. I just had to accept. Like I know. That's all I can say. They said it's
fat. Don't be calling us. Both of us know I had the COVID-40. Miss us with that. I'm gonna go find me something to eat now. I think we eat Jamaican right, y'all. Oh, somebody was.
I'm gonna go have me a croissant and make me a sandwich. But I started with a good juice. I'm gonna give me a good walk in later today. But yeah. This work is stressful too, so I gotta make sure I'm eating well because it'll take you down.
We canvassing today.
We are.
I'm coming.
Yeah.
I'll be there. Who gonna meet me there?
Yeah.
We finna eat. We gonna get some plantains. Okay, I'm gonna give me some plantains for my fat self.
Yeah, Krishan says this is deeper than what the eyes see. We're walking around eyes wide. When you do this work, you realize the trends, and these are not 10-year or 15-year trends. Miss Taylor, you're gonna see it change around. They're gonna get a new person, a new leader, and they're gonna use the same playbook. And we gotta hold them accountable to make sure it don't keep happening.
It's called the Government Public School Playbook.
We see it. But thank you guys. We'll see you guys next week. Fellowship. We got fellowship with cohort 17 tomorrow. Like it is some great parents on there who are going, I hope, but I know are going to come out fired up and ready to go. So we will see you guys next Monday for the update. Thank you guys for joining the speaker series with Miss Laker Newman at Purpose Prep. And we'll see you back here next Wednesday. Thank you guys for joining. Miss Tammy, thank you for even joining on your vacation and all the people who are joining as you take a break at work. Fired up, ready to go.